And hello everybody, I'm Physio D, the Barefoot Physio from Naramata, BC, Canada. So I'm braving the deck today. I do have a mat for a reason, and we will talk about that. Many of you talk about balance this week. If many of my patients tell me that they have terrible balance, my balance has just gotten worse and worse, guess what? You can work on your balance. Your balance is directed from 3 systems. Your vision is a biggie, and that's often why as we get older, we start to look where we're walking. Going barefoot, when you are not barefoot, you are getting less information through the nerves in your feet that tell you about position. So those are called proprioceptors. Those nerves need input and regular input and varied input to be active and to have that connection be stronger. So you can work on that and you can improve that, and that's what we're going to do today. So, how many of you can stand on one foot? If you cannot stand on one foot, that's okay. I'm going to just use my chair behind me here. I want everybody to be safe today. So if you are feeling like you're going to lose your balance, make sure that your area is clear, and that if when your eyes are closed you feel like you're going to lose your balance, I want you to open your eyes, put your feet apart, widen your base, but make sure that there's room around you so that you can, if you do stumble a little bit, that you've got room and you won't trip over anything. So, can you stand on one foot? If you can do that with a soft knee, can you stand on one foot with your eyes closed? Now I've taken away one of the biggest parts of my balance system, which is my vision. And I'm really making my proprioceptors work hard, given my vestibular system, which is the third part of my balance system, is functioning well. I treat vestibular patients as well, and this is something we do, is that we try to make the vestibular system and the proprioceptive system work better together and have the brain feel good about the information it's getting. So I just want you to do that little test. See how easy it is, A, to stand on one foot, B, can you do it with your eyes closed? If you cannot, we're going to work up to that today, and there's some progressions we'll go through. So the first thing that I get people to do is to wake up the muscles of their hips, because there are deep muscles in your hips that are reflexive that help you connect the dots between your legs and your body. So if those are sleepy, that's often an issue or if you've had surgery, if you've had a hip replacement, if you've had a knee replacement, if you've had any injuries or surgeries, your balance goes down because of those injuries. We get a protective pattern that makes your proprioceptors, or I call them more simply, joint sensor measurers, joint position sensor measurers. They're measuring position. So those nerves are telling your brain where you are. They get sleepy in the areas that you've had an injury, so we want to wake them up. So the first thing that I like people to do is hold on, try to go on one foot. If you can't, put your feet close together, but usually if you're holding on, you can stand on one foot. Then what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to turn your knee over towards the standing leg and then turn it away. You're going to hold on for this one, please. We're going to do 5 of these. Doing them, I see there's a question. I'm doing this exercise with your eyes closed, which you're supposed to be doing, guys. Do 5 each side, but what I like people to do is to do about 10 of these. And what you should feel is some work in your buttock. And so if you tighten, squeeze that buttock gently of the standing leg, you're just again saying hello to your deep gluteal muscles, which are a big part of that reflexive, keeping you on top of your leg muscular system. And when I'm closing my eyes, I'm tapping into that joint position sensor network of nerves. So after doing that, open your eyes and just sort of shake out your hips a little bit. The next one that we're going to do is something I call the Romberg test. So this is a test that I do to see, can people stand with their feet together? So I've got my toes touching and my ankles touching. And thank you for your flexibility with having all the shadow. It's really hot on our deck, so we've got a few umbrellas up. So with your feet, toes touching, ankles touching, if you can, but get them as close as you can comfortably. Can you stand like that? And if that's pretty easy, can you stand with your hands across your tummy? And if that's pretty easy, now try closing your eyes. Now, what I encourage people to do is if this feels very wobbly, which is normal because as soon as you close your eyes, you're taking away that big piece of your balance system, your vision. So your brain is searching around for where you are, and that's often why people will wobble or wibble around a little bit or start to wave, and that's normal. Your brain is just figuring out, okay, where's my center point? Okay, now I got it. So pressing down with your big toes, pressing your knees together a little bit, bending and straightening your knees a little bit will help to give the muscles more feedback. So you're just putting more nervous, sensory feedback into the loop. Now, if you need it, hold on to your chair with your eyes closed and then hover your hand. If it's challenging to have eyes closed with your feet together, you just put your hand on the chair, hover it, see if you can hold, and please breathe, because that breathing becomes an internal reference point. As your diaphragm goes down and up with breath, as your belly expands and falls with breath, that's a muscular action which gives more sensory information through that muscular action. So movement really helps you to feel where you are more. So I get people to stand with their eyes closed for at least 20 seconds. Now, if that's too easy, you can make it harder by staggering your feet. So it's like you're on a tightrope. So try that with your eyes opened. Can you see my feet, Paul? I'll just back up a little bit. So again, you put what foot feels comfortable. You'll find that one way feels easier. Usually, if you're right-handed, it's easier to have your left foot back. And if you're left-handed, it's easier to have your right foot back. So you use, and I like people to do both, please, but start with the easier one. And again, if you can stand fairly easily, bend and straighten your knees, then can you do it with your eyes closed? And again, I'm going to wave a little bit because this is a more challenging position, and over I go. I'm going to open my eyes and I know where my balance point is. So ultimately, your goal is to be able to stand with your eyes closed in this narrowed position for up to 30 seconds. And I get my patients to do 3 to 5 rounds of this, and if they fall over after 10 seconds, that's 1 round. Then you do it again. Now, what I always encourage people to do when they're first working on this is take a 2-minute break in between each challenge when you're first doing it, because that 2 minutes allows the brain and the nervous system to learn that little bit more. It's accommodating the information. So often if you give yourself 2 minutes between repetitions, you'll have more of a learning effect. So I'm not going to do 2 minutes of rest in between just for time's sake, but try that when you do this on your own. When you're doing an eyes closed balance routine, do 2 minutes rest in between 3 to 5 repetitions. Now I've got a band around my knees now. So again, this is giving me a little bit more input about where I am going. So like I said, the more muscular action you bring into an activity, the more sensory information through those nerves that we're talking about. So if you're having difficulty putting an external source of information like a band is another way to help it, along with holding on to a chair. Because really, so we're going to try one leg here. So I'm doing that one-legged balance again. So right away, as I'm pushing against the band, I can feel more muscle action and I feel way more solid. Now, the muscle action is actually more here than the first time I did this, but this feels easier to me because I've got an external base of support. If I needed more, one finger is often enough on a chair or a wall. Often my patients, that's all they need is one finger, and they can do this with their eyes closed. So I'm closing my eyes. Can I stand? and it's much more difficult. Over I go. So let's see what the other leg can do. So again, this is something that you can practice and hone. And often within a session, you'll notice that each successive repetition gets a little bit longer. This is an external base of support. So not only am I getting more muscle work, but it's something else touching my skin. And the skin is the most powerful sensory organ you have. So touch is, we have so many sensory nerves in our skin that the skin gives us the most feedback of any sensory organ. Yes, so you have something touching your skin and then you're using it to make a muscle pattern turn on. That's a powerful input to the system to help you learn more about that position. So often when people have reduced balance, it's because they haven't worked on it and they have not used those muscle patterns that help them to stay upright. So that's what this whole little routine is working on, is accessing reflexive muscle patterns that help to keep you upright. So when I move my head, now I'm really challenging the system because the head has rich nervous input through the neck and through the joints of the neck and through the skin and muscles of the neck. And that movement also, along with the eyes, makes big reflexive action happening that's postural. So again, if I take my eyes away, let's see if I can do this, guys. Oh, I don't know. I don't think I can do this one with my eyes closed today. Let's see. Whoa, yeah, 3. So that's really hard. So again, if you're solid with one leg and eyes closed, then you can challenge yourself by moving around. But if you find that too big of a challenge, open your eyes and just move the other leg around. To sort of review the challenge, we started with one leg without the band. And then we went to both feet together, eyes open and eyes closed. Then we went to, the one leg with the, we did sharpened. We did tightrope. And then we did the band, one leg. So there's many other examples. One more that I'll show you. And then I want you to retest your one leg. If you have a cushion, or this is from our deck furniture, but if you have a dense foam pillow or cushion for some outdoor furniture or indoor furniture, or a thick pillow from your bedroom, standing on that is another way to make it a little bit more difficult because it's a less stable surface. So that's a way to also challenge. Some people have foam pads that they stand on in the kitchen. That's another thing that you could do to challenge your balance a little bit more and make it a little less stable. And you can also, if it's warm enough and you can get into a lake or the ocean, or if you have a pool, standing on one leg, eyes closed in the water is a great way to practice this if you're first starting out. If you fall over, you just get wet. Who cares? So it's a nice, safe place to challenge. Now, some people find that the water's harder because the waves are moving them around and making them bop around. So that's a good challenge. And just really choose the challenge that feels like it's a challenge and not an overwhelming, I'm falling over right away. Because if you try challenging your balance and you fall over right away, your brain will not learn. It'll just protect you in that case. So make sure that you can hold the position for at least 5 seconds. And that way your brain starts to learn that it doesn't have to go off board right away. It can hold on, it can use those muscles to help keep you upright. So I want everybody to try that one-legged balance again. So what does it feel like now to stand on one leg and close your eyes? And what I notice is my feet are gripping a little bit more this time around. And again, you will find that some challenges are easier than others. So choose the challenge that you can hold for at least 5 to 10 seconds, a few rounds, 2-minute rest in between. So please take your shoes off to do this. And if you're not used to going without your shoes, wear the lightest pair of shoes you have that are safe to balance in. Often I tell my patients to start in their stocking feet if they're very sensitive, and then try one set with bare feet. Or do it on very soft, cushy surfaces like your carpet. And then work from softer surfaces to firmer surfaces. and then to unstable surfaces. So those are a few ideas to challenge your balance. There are all sorts of ways. Yoga has great one-legged stands, being on a paddleboard, doing snow sports for those of you in the southern hemisphere. So do something that you love to do that makes you a little less stable, and do it regularly, because if you use your balance system and challenge it, it will help to prevent falls for all of your life. So until next time, please thank your body for everything it does for you every day. I thank you for coming on.